Summit, and we are so happy to have you here and for you to join us today. And We have a lot of very, very exciting things for you on the menu today. So we are really looking forward to and we're so happy to see all the engagement after our sessions with the videos on Facebook, on our uh, Instagram page, a few inspired conference of Inspired Youth Summit, as well as on our YouTube channel. And this is where you will be able to watch all of the sessions, and there's so much information for you to digest. So tonight we have some great things and that we are going to share. We have our panels, we have live interviews, we have videos specifically produced for us, and we also have a live yoga session by a wonderful lady who is going to do a session specifically for teens to help them unwind and deal with stress. So that will start in 40 minutes from now. So you can get ready and put on some comfortable clothes and get ready for Hannah so that she can teach you some relaxation strategies. And I hope that that is something that you are really going to enjoy uh, afterwards. So, yes, so just to quickly run through our program today, we have our last panel sessions, which we will release through the course of the evening and or afternoon or morning if you are in America. And then after that, we in between, as I said, in 40 minutes from now, we have our live yoga session with Hannah. After that, a little bit later, we're going to have an interview with Urdu, with uh, with Urda, which is an NGO in Lebanon, and they're going to share the work they do and how that is related to the United Nations goals. And then we will also have a few surprises in between. So we hope that you have found this week interesting, eye-opening, and just it's the whole intention of this week was just to give a platform for our young people to share their thoughts and their feelings and their experiences in this world where COVID doesn't just seem to want to let go. So let me share with you the first video that we have, or the first panel discussion that we have, and that is the panel that we start from east and then we'll go west because those kids are ahead of, there's like I think a 13-hour difference between the two furthest groups of participants from Fiji on, if I look at the world on the most eastern direction, and then all the way across to South America, where we also have participants from Chile. Isn't that amazing? So from the South American continent, we have Chile, Brazil, Venezuela. We have North America, we have Canada, and then moving more to the east, we have the UK, Ireland, and then a number of countries in Europe are represented. In the Middle East, we have Lebanon and also the UAE, United Arab Emirates. In Africa, we have Uganda, we have Sudan, South Africa, it just carries on like that. So what a wonderful representation of views. And I think the thing that is most noticeable is to see the similarities, the themes that are emerging, the things that it seems most youths are experiencing at the moment. So let me share with you the last panel, and their views on the world and what they can do to make the world a better place.
Hi, my name is Harley. I'm from Canada. I'm going into grade 10. I am interested in climate change and ways that we can make a better future. I love animals and like to go riding. I am interested in people's different views about what is happening in today's world. I love to draw and enjoy baking and cooking.
Hi, my name is Rahul. I'm from the Fiji Islands. I'm currently in Gospel High School in grade 12. I like to listen to music, watch movies, and travel.
Hi, I'm Rahma Nora Iman, and I'm a 16-year-old high school student from Bogor, Indonesia. My hobbies are watching movies, dramas, or reading books.
Hello, I am Alvin Wong, and I am from Hong Kong. I am a rising 11th grader studying at the International Christian School. Music has always been my hobby, and I have recently founded this initiative called March to Your Beat, which is a music initiative to help those with special needs.
Hi, Inspired Youth Summit. My name is Bella. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Hong Kong. I currently study at the Canadian International School of Hong Kong and I'm an incoming senior. After high school, I want to study law in the UK, and in my free time, I really love to cook, and I'm also the founder of Thalassemia Hong Kong. I'm also very passionate about the Sustainable Development Goals, so I'm very excited to see what's to come.
Hello everyone, my name is Lavanya Chudke. I am 16 years old and I'm currently in the 10th grade. I go to the Canadian International School of Hong Kong, and the stuff that I like to do, I enjoy all things art related, from theatrical to visual. I enjoy creative writing and reading.
Hello there, my name is Leah Elizabeth Dickham. I'm 17 years old and I am from Malaysia. Right now, I am studying in pre-university under the IB program. I like to draw, read, and play with my Rubik's Cube.
Bula Vinaka, my name is Vasemada Randini from the Fiji Islands, and I'm 16 years old. I'm a pure science student and currently in year 11. My hobbies include singing, socializing with friends, and teaching children moral values every week before this pandemic occurred. Vinaka.
Hi, my name is Vivilia Aslan and I'm 17 years old, living in Sydney, Australia. I am originally French and Canadian. I'm currently in year 12, my final year of high school, and for my university studies I'm hoping to pursue art curatorship and history. My hobbies include surfing, being in the ocean, and watching Mamma Mia on repeat.
I'd like to first off start with thanking every one of you for joining this summit. You know, you're taking out time out of your busy schedules, and we like to talk about how to make the world a better place. And I don't know if every one of you here are familiar with the UN SDGs. I think Alvin might be, because I think even in his profile, in his picture, he's holding goal number 17. So I think, would you like to just share, you know, what you know about the SDG, like a short summary of it?
Yeah, so it's basically the set of goals that the United Nations has for up to the next decade, basically, a set of goals that the United Nations and the whole world wants to accomplish up till 2030, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so there are goals in many different areas, you know, about poverty, education, you know, the environment. So anything you can think of that, you know, would sort of save the world, I'm sure it's probably in there. So there are 17 goals in total. And I would like to hear what any of you are actually doing in terms of like these areas. I mean, you don't have to say, okay, it actually relates to the UN SDG, but, you know, are you doing anything interesting in terms of like let's say, the environment, you know, or poverty, or, you know, education?
Is it okay if I go?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a little bit cliche, but SDG 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages. So just to really key in on target 3.4, that's I think the only one in the health SDG that has to do with mental health. So I'm kind of involved like locally. There's some Hong Kong youth summits by a branch of Mind HK called Cool Minds, which so there's a youth advisory committee which I'm a part of. So there's sort of like we're getting started. Last year was our first summit, but the goal is like to annually have a youth summit, just to check in and like get the youth involved and have them talking about like their experiences with mental health. And this year it's more art music based. So it's basically like getting people who are involved in like art clubs or dance clubs to sort of just talk and share their perspectives. So that's sort of something that's kind of been I've been working on and working with a group of other youth to put out there locally in Hong Kong. So
that's super interesting. And I think that really relates to what Alvin was saying about his music therapy initiative. Could you please share with us, maybe after this call, about like what you're doing, because it'll be interesting to share what you're doing. And is there anyone else who would like to share? It can be something simple, like let's say something in your community that you're maybe, let's say, cleaning the river in your community. It doesn't have to be huge, like you're about to save the world. Everyone has to start small.
Thank you. Mine's like pretty small, but I'm the school environmental captain, and recently I planned like a secondhand market in our school. So lots of people brought in donations like clothes and books and just old things that they found around their house that's no need, that they find no use for anymore, and we sold them for cheap prices. And it was like a fun little collaborative event, even just to get our school a bit closer of a community, and so to just reduce waste within our small school community.
Yeah, that's it. Even though it sounds small, but it's actually quite big, because like you're learning a lot from it. It's the awareness. I think that's really important. And I mean, once you have, I guess, more influence, you can do on a bigger scale. And I guess for those in Fiji, is there something that you usually do to like, let's say that you do communal work on like cleaning the river, or helping each other feed the poor?
Yes, we have like in our school, we have a class, which is sculpture class. We donate a lot of things basically. Like we have a deaf school. So at the back, like there's some kids around like 4, 5, 6 that live there. So we just come on like once a year. We just donate all the money, like we buy things for them. If we last them for the whole year, we donate to them every time.
That's an excellent initiative. That's just by your school.
Yeah.
And whoa, that is a huge contribution. That's excellent. Like it's hard sometimes. Like I'm thinking, like a lot of people actually have good intentions and they really want to contribute to the earth, but maybe they just don't know how. And and I think what do you have some ways that you know how to get people involved?
Like if you don't know what to do, just try something small. Like start from the bottom and work away into like bigger things. Like you can keep on going. Example, if you see like some people like on the streets, like you need some money. First of all, if you don't know what to do, just start off with a small amount and keep on increasing it.
Yes.
And you can get more confidence. You can do more things.
Yeah, I think let's say with every change, it has to start from within, So like, I mean, I've always been like, for myself, I've always said that, like sometimes we feel like we're not actually making any change, but like it's important to like actually maybe just start learning about it and asking people. And Alvin, like in your case, Like, I mean, because you did something with the SDGs, right? Were you ever involved in trying to get people to join the cause that you do?
Yes, but can I talk about a different cause because I had multiple SDG causes. So
yeah,
I want to give an example. So I am a member of the school's student council. So what happened basically last year with the pandemic was that I actually proposed that the school should follow SDG number 3, especially target 3.3, which talks about the pandemics and stuff. And what I proposed was that I proposed for the school to distribute bottled sanitizers to everybody. And this actually was an initiative that worked because after everybody got a bottle of sanitizer, everybody kept carrying the sanitizer around the school. So this is basically my proposal, but it actually spread to the whole school. It impacted the whole school, and everybody was willing to work towards being responsible members of our community by sanitizing. So this is something that I have done with SDG 3 within the school community.
And how did you start that? It'll be interesting for everyone else to hear.
Oh, so basically I contacted it. I contacted the school student council and I said, can this be done? Whether we can have some alcohol sprays given to the whole school. And they said yes. So we basically worked on the packaging, we worked on the funding of it, and it ultimately worked. So this was basically a school effort. And I think it was very, very successful overall.
Very interesting. All started from an idea, came to reality. Very interesting. And
can I say something as well?
Yeah, please.
I don't think this is anything big that I've done based on one of the SDG goals, but I've not been wasting food. I think that can be one aspect to it, because then there'll be no hunger.
Yeah. I think that sounds small, but honestly, I think that is very big. Because it's genuine. You get what I mean? If you're wasting food yourself and you expect to give food to other people, that's it's you're already going against your own integrity there. So I think that's actually a very strong start.
Yep.
Definitely. So moving on to the next question, what do you think are the biggest issues facing our generation? As in, there's a lot of talk about climate change and Greta Thunberg. So at least in your communities, what are some big issues? An example, for example, just to make it easier, in Malaysia, for example, there's a huge issue with people burning leaves. They would collect the leaves that's fallen off the trees and they would just burn it. And some neighborhoods would just be full of smoke, and you're just inhaling this the smoke. And it's a huge problem, and a lot of people are trying to raise awareness of it. There are a lot of effort done through education, through government policies, but it's a long journey. That's very, very local to Malaysia. Are there any other issues in different countries, maybe in Fiji? It could be something small or big, with any information to do.
Well, we've been experiencing more powerful cyclones here more recently.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we just recently, I believe, we had a category 2 Richter central division, which was very powerful. It caused the central division to be shut down for 2 weeks, I believe, or 1 week.
Wow, so climate change is actually
it's very real. We didn't had a cyclone hit the central division since 2013.
I see. Wow, that's very dangerous, I guess then. you know, you can see our actions are probably going to affect Fiji as well. Anyone else in Indonesia?
Something that I found like in my community is that lots of people in my generation, they don't seem to like take climate change or stuff like that as something that is serious and something that can affect our future. So like kind of just they know that it's there and like kind of aware of it, but just kind of thinking of it as a joke and like not understanding like what kind of impact it will have on like our future and like how if nothing's done about it, it's kind of well, it would have a great impact. So it kind of not aware of the full situation, I guess.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, I think all over the world. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm aware of it as well. I think there's a lot I can do as well to educate myself on this. It's definitely a journey to take. And are there any issues in Indonesia, Rahma?
I think in Indonesia, the issue that we face right now is regarding obeying the the health protocol, since the COVID cases in Indonesia is at its like highest, and just in the past 3 days, like around like three or four people that I know have like sadly like passed away because like it's crazy in Indonesia right now. And I think even with all the deaths and positive cases, some people still tend to be like quite ignorant and like they don't really obey the health protocols, and some people are still even like hanging out with other people and like going out. So I think that would be a problem.
Yeah. I think it's quite similar in Malaysia as well, where we don't have a huge population here, but so many people are getting infected. Well, I'm just reading a message from Rahul, not related, but we've experienced change of weather patterns. Like one day it's sunny, literally 20 seconds later it's raining, and back to sunny in a minute. Did everyone get that? Everyone read the message? I think that I've only experienced that when I was in Turkey, actually. So like, I think Rahul was just saying that the weather patterns are really erratic in Fiji. And I think most of us who live in countries where maybe, I guess, the weather doesn't really affect us, or like natural disasters. But maybe someone in Fiji or like these low-lying islands, you know, they would be the first ones to kind of really feel the impact of it. And like Harley was saying, like, you know, we don't really see the impact of our actions. And I think maybe that's the first you know, action plan to do.
Is it all right if I just add one more thing concerning? In January last year, 2020, all of Australia was pretty much on fire. We had really bad bushfires to the point where, like, at the local beaches, just the little bushland would set on fire. And then, so that was really like impactful towards many people. And then in February, we suffered from a lot of heavy floods. So you can already, like, it was so different from going, everything was on fire to everything flooding. Like, it's a really drastic change to have in a month. Everyone was so confused going, what's going on? Like, everything was burning 1 minute and now it's absolutely pouring. So you can already see that that's quite a significant change in just a month.
Yeah, wow. And has that raised the awareness of the people there, of their impact to the climate change?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. There's been quite a few. I feel like it's been quite global, but climate strikes where kids leave their classes to go protest to the government saying that they need to change their views upon climate change.
But I think we've actually come towards the end of it. And I think I learned a lot from this interview, you know. And thank you so much for participating.
Thank you so much. And you know,
Yeah, that was really interesting. So
Absolutely.
many amazing things these young people are involved in, and really inspiring to hear, you know, that they're so passionate, especially about the environment. Seems to be a big topic for many people these days.
Well, they are going to inherit the problems that, you know, imagine what life could potentially be like 20 or 30 years from now. It's really scary, you know, and it's easy to just think, okay, I'll just throw this piece of plastic away, or I'll just do this because, you know, it doesn't immediately affect you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you have children as an adult, and now if you're a young person and you think, well, water wars and mass migrations, and I mean we're just seeing with more regular occurrence all the results of climate
I
change.
mean, what Zoe was saying, you know, about the fires and the floods in Australia, and I know, you know, even this summer, you know, many people died in Canada because it was too hot. I mean, it doesn't happen in Canada, so it's very unusual. It's really worrying, actually, you know, the things that we're seeing happening. So
it really is scary. It's very scary. Just to follow up, before we have Hannah Ray that's going to do her yoga session in 10 minutes from now, we have a short video that one of our panelists that just spoke, Alvin, has created for us. And I thought it would be quite nice to watch what this inspiring young man is doing. So it's just a short video, only like 6 minutes. So let's quickly learn a little bit more about what Alvin does.
Wonderful.
Hello everyone at the Inspired Youth Summit. My name is Alvin Wong, a student at the International Christian School in Hong Kong, advocating SDGs 3, 4, and 10. And I am representing Kids for SDGs in today's presentation. First of all, a huge thank you to the organizers of this summit for giving me this opportunity. As an advocate for SDG number 4, quality education, with a focus on target 4.5, one issue I see with today's education system is that it often lacks inclusiveness. According to UNESCO's 2018 Education and Disability Analysis, limited education opportunities and low literacy rates have affected the world, especially for many with learning disabilities. UNESCO indicates that 31 million youths in Southeast Asia couldn't attend school in 2016. During COVID, educational opportunities for youth have further diminished. According to the UN policy brief, Education During COVID-19 and Beyond, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected nearly 1.6 billion students. Closures of schools have impacted 94% of the world's student population. In China, schools have been closed for up to 30 weeks. I have two solutions to educational interventions that could help students during the pandemic. Firstly, we can resort to alternate learning programs. For example, my school, International Christian School, works with ASDAN, a great alternative educational program for special needs kids. Another great way to make education more accessible is the use of technological interventions. Apps such as mind games, are a great form of alternative learning. The mind game I have pasted at the bottom right is a game developed by Cambridge neuroscientists. We can all agree that technology is an avenue towards a successful education. It is an avenue that is extremely popular amongst youth today and will reinvigorate many youth's passions for learning. As we build back from the pandemic, we cannot afford to limit education to books, pens, papers, and exams, as this form of education only suits some learners. Broadening education through accelerating the UN SDGs makes it not only more accessible to low-income families, but also gives those with disabilities an opportunity to thrive. More than ever before, social media is being used in day-to-day interactions during the COVID pandemic. One benefit of using social media is that it can create an inclusive society. Social media can make student life more inclusive by educating students about current global issues and creating a platform for fellow changemakers to build a network to engage in community-changing initiatives. An enlarged community of changemakers through social media would result in increased awareness and ultimately an increased level of impact towards our global goals. In addition, augmented reality is an emerging form of media that is changing our world today. I believe these advancements greatly help youth today in their growth and education, especially those with learning disabilities. This is a great merger of SDGs 9 and 10. Inclusion through social media has 3 major benefits to those with special needs. Firstly, with social media and technology, those with special needs feel like they are a valued part of the learning community. Secondly, it is a platform for open communication and interaction. Thirdly, social media gives special needs students the chance to be an active global changemaker as well. I believe that their voices matter as they will provide new perspectives on improving our world. My favorite UN SDG goal is SDG number 3, good health and well-being. I believe that this is an issue that needs to be especially addressed during this pandemic. This pandemic has exacerbated many health issues such as anxiety, depression, substance use, trauma, and suicidal thoughts. One possible solution to this issue would be through interaction with nature. According to a study published by CNN, exposure to woodland is associated with higher scores for cognitive development and a 17% lower risk of emotional or behavioral problems 2 years later. Some nature-based solutions include having plants in our classrooms and workstations, exercising regularly in outdoor environments, and incorporating nature into educational activities. That's all I have today. I hope that we can bring back better as we build back from the pandemic. If you want to know more about me, then contact me through LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
An amazing young man there. So passionate.
Incredible, right? Wow. Yes, such fantastic ideas and such insight. And I mean, imagine that has been the trend here on the summit, right, Helen? We've just seen so many fantastic ideas and insights and reflective people who really are can explain, can share their ideas so confidently. So that is great. So we've got Hannah Ray with us, and I'm going to bring her on screen. Hi, Hannah.
Hello, Ray. Hi.
Nice to have you here with us, and thank you very much for agreeing to join us tonight.
Oh, you're very welcome, Marie. I really thank you for the opportunity.
So, Hannah, can you just tell us a little bit more about, why do you do what you are doing, and why do you think, how did you come to this point where yoga is sort of your way of life and what you are advocating?
Well, yoga's been in my life for a number of years, over 20 years, Anne-Marie, and it's always been in the background helping me to keep on an even keel as much as possible. And then at the beginning of the pandemic, I was asked by friends to start doing some online teaching of yoga to help people because of mental health and well-being being at the forefront. You know, people were kind of struggling with their just ability to cope and get on with life and come back to this kind of weird normal that we're existing in. And so I've taken my teacher training while I lived in Malaysia. I had a wonderful teacher, and I'm taught in the Himalayan style, which is very traditional. It's about coming to the self. It's about recognizing our strengths. It's about going along with what the body's capable of and building on resilience, remaining happy, and being in that nice, comfortable feeling really, and learning techniques to be able to not just manage life on the yoga mat, but also life outside. We look at strategies to help with managing stress. We look at strategies to help with building our resilience. And one of the main things that I bring, or that I've found through my yoga and that I hope will bring to my students, is this capacity to be able to experience a situation and then respond rather than react. That's what we often do. When we're faced with things, we get this flood of emotion, and it just gives you the time to sit back, breathe, and say, you know what, I'll respond, I won't react. And so I've been teaching now for 18 months, and I've written a program for young people that I've found that when I've delivered it in school has been received really beneficially. People have loved it, the teachers enjoy it, the teachers have seen a difference with their students in the way that they approach situations, coming back into school after COVID, etc. So yeah, really enjoying it, and really happy to have this opportunity to be able to support your audience today.
That's amazing. And how did the whole COVID pandemic impact you, and what did you have to do or change, in your own practice?
In my own yoga practice, my change initially became having to teach it, obviously, and then take on further training. It's been something that I've found has enabled me to cope better in my lifestyle because due to the COVID pandemic, this is an aside, I actually became unemployed for the first time ever. And that was a massive change for me. I've always worked, and I found that actually having yoga in my life has given me that time to take a step back and recognise that there's other important things. I've been able to pick up employment. That's not been an issue. That developed as I've gone through. But my yoga in my life has helped me see the reasoning behind that. I've got teenage girls and they needed me around. They've been homeschooling. I've been there for them. Had I been working, that wouldn't have been a possibility. Yoga has helped me to be calm about situations and recognise the positive in everything. Really just to assess and take on board what's happening and recognise that, we're presented with challenges in order for us to learn from it, in order for us to assess what's happening and take the good. So we all have faced negative situations. COVID has brought around so many different challenges and fears and anxieties, and having yoga in your life, or for me, definitely has brought around that feeling of, you know what, I can cope, and there's always going to be something positive to take from it, and it's been invaluable.
That's incredible, and it's such good advice, and it feels to me like it's the ideal thing that you have to be able to do during this really stressful time that people are going through, right? So, yeah, it is time, I think, for us to start. So, I'm going to just enlarge the screen and hand over to you, Hannah.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Anne-Marie, and welcome, Inspired Youth. I really hope that you enjoyed today's session. It's not going to be a long one. You don't have to be wearing yoga clothes. As you can see, I'm going to do a little bit of chair yoga for you today. I recognise that everybody's kind of working from home, studying from home, or you've got exams, or whatever it is that's happening in your life, we do spend a lot of time in our seated positions. And so what I'm going to give you today are a few strategies to enable you to just loosen up, feel good, release the shoulders, and come into the self and look at how we can build our self-confidence, our self-esteem, and set a determination and set our focus for the day. And so I always begin yoga sessions with talking about how to sit. And so I'll just come to one side and explain. I've got my chair here. This is a regular chair, nothing special about it. It's not ergonomically designed. And when I take my seat, I'm going to take my own seat to the back of the seat. And I'm going to sit with my spine straight, comfortable, relaxed legs. I'm going to raise my shoulders to my ears and I'm going to release them back and down. I'm going to have my crown proudly presented to the ceiling, head over tail, and my palms are going to be faced up on my thighs. And if you follow me now, just close your eyes and come into the breath. Taking a deep breath in through the nostrils and become aware of that cold air as it enters the body. Release that same breath through the nostrils again. And just take time to get used to this and just let everything around you settle. Come to that place where you can set your focus to give yourself these few minutes of time just to look at you. Become aware of how you're feeling, become aware of your breath, become aware of any sensations in your body, and just accept. Now we're going to try and deepen the breath a little, feeling the air into the nostrils, and become aware of the chest as it expands out to the sides. Aware of the diaphragm as we take that breath all the way down through into the belly and pelvic region. And as we exhale, we're going to slowly and gently cover that same journey with a like toothpaste being squeezed from the tube. Be aware of the sensations of your body, contact points with the chair, the back of the hands against your legs. Maybe you can feel your heartbeat. Relax tummy muscles as you take the breath deep, deep inside the body. And relax as we release that exhalation quietly and gently and slowly. And with our next inhalation, try a count inside the head, just to you. A slow count as you let that breath enter the body. And as you exhale, start that count again. And we're going to aim to try and make the exhalation twice as long as the inhalation, as we let everything around us just settle and be. Have a couple of rounds on your own. Now beautifully done. We're going to flicker open the eyes. And I'd like to talk to you about why we have the palms faced up. When we're faced with a stressful or anxiety-building situation, we tend to hyperventilate. We start to breathe in a shallow way and our shoulders tense. And instantly, if we turn the palms, the shoulders release and they relax. And that's something that we can do for ourselves every day. If we're at the laptop, we're at our desk, turn the palms face up, release the shoulders down. That allows us to access the full extent of the body for the breath. You can turn the palms again if you need the laptop to type, that's no worries. Just remember this strategy. If you start to hyperventilate, you start to feel a little bit freaked out by a situation, turn the palms face up, release the shoulders down. So simple and really effective. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to release your legs. You make two little fists and you place them underneath the thighs and just start to swing the legs. Just swing the legs, circle, front to back, whatever you need to do. You might have remembered children doing this, you probably did it as a child. Just swinging your legs releases tension, releases the muscles, and increases blood circulation. You just do this for a few seconds. You can do this throughout your day whenever you need it. And then we're going to come to a stop, and we're going to start to release the shoulders again. Super simple. Raise the shoulders to the ears and drop them down. Raise and drop. Repeat this. Something that we can do. It's super simple. You're just releasing the shoulders, releasing that tension, and coming back into the body. And then we're going to take this left thigh, we're going to cross it over the right. We're going to breathe in and take both arms up. And now we're going to begin a twist. And we're going to move from the belly. We're going to release that right hand down against the left thigh. And you're going to take this left arm and just place it beside you on the chair. Use it for purchase if you wish. We're just going to turn and start a twist from the belly, the rib cage, the shoulders, and finally the head. And come into that nice deep diaphragmatic breath all the way down into the pelvis. Breathing in. And exhale through the nose. And as we exhale, we're going to take that twist just a little bit further if we can. When the body's empty, breath is more room for movement. And this twist allows us to see things totally differently. And we're going to release the twist now. Raise both hands, come back to center. And release down. We're going to exchange our legs. Take that right leg over the left. Breathe in, take both arms up. And engaging that twist, we're going to take it all the way down to the right side. Release that left arm down and take that right hand down as well. Belly, rib cage, shoulders, and finally the head. Coming into that deep breath, breathing in. And release the exhalation slowly, gently, deeply through the nose. And extend that twist just a little bit further. Coming back to the breath, breathe in, release the palms, and come back to center. Nicely done. Release down now. Palms faced up onto the thighs. Relax the shoulders and release again. Raise and drop. Raise and drop. Okay, now I've got a really nice shoulder release for you. If you've been hunched over your laptop, you've been working hard, you've got a tension build up here. We're going to take that right arm and we're going to take across, so it's gone in front of the left, and we're going to bring the palms together if possible. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see that. Keeping that spine straight. We've got our palms crossed. We're going to breathe in and release the hands down so the elbows come against the chest. We're going to come into that breath, breathing in. And on the exhale, we're going to raise the elbows, bring it to a 90-degree angle and feel that stretch. The shoulder blades should be pulled. You'll feel that at the back. Keep your head facing forwards. Feel that beautiful stretch. Breathe in. And as you release, you're going to take both hands against the shoulder blades. I'll turn so you can see me. And just work the fingers around the shoulder blades and give yourself a huge hug. That should feel really nice. Relax the arms. We want zero resistance. Relax, relax. And release the palms down again. Place up on the thighs and just give the shoulders a nice little shrug to release again. And then we're going to come into that shoulder stretch with the opposite arm. Nicely done. Breathe in, relax the arms down against the chest. Take them back up, get that 90-degree angle. Breathing through, feel the stretch across the shoulder blades at the back, no risky pain. Just feel a nice, enjoyable stretch. Release the palms and take hold of the shoulder blades at the back. Again, walking the fingers in as much as you can. And give yourself a little big hug. Relax the arms. And just rock gently from side to side. Nicely done. And release, palms face up. Shoulder release. And I'm just going to come to a standing position now. And you can join me, you don't need a mat. You just move this to one side slightly. We're going to come into a standing position now. With our feet hip width apart. We're going to raise our toes. Move the weight to the heels, and now you should have an arch in your foot. Release the toes down, but maintain the arch in your foot. Engaging our core as we move up the body. Raise the shoulders to the ears and release them back and down. Hands are a couple of inches away from your thighs. Mountain pose. Now this pose is something that you can do throughout your day if you're queuing anywhere. Supermarket, cinema, queuing for, I don't know, whatever you're doing. Airport, wherever you might be. Could be in a stressful situation. This pose, if you take this pose, engage your core, release the arms down, standing strong. People will find it hard to nudge into you. You've got a real mountain pose, stood. And actually, when we stand like this, if we just place our hands on our hips, we come into a power. This pose actually reduces cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone. It reduces cortisol levels and it raises testosterone, which means that if we're facing a tricky situation, for example, you've got a job interview or you're going into an exam or anything like that, find a quiet place, come and stand, head over tail, raise the shoulders, release them back, hands on hips, come into your power pose and stand like this for 2 to 3 minutes. And you will feel so much better. We set our purpose, we raise our confidence, we come into ourselves, and we can handle it. And it's perfect. And I use this a lot. I use this even when I'm standing in a lift, whatever opportunity I can. Why wouldn't you? Sounds good. And we release it now. Let go with the arms, let go with the legs. And we're just going to swing nicely from side to side. Releasing the shoulders, releasing the arms, we're coming into, we call it zero resistance. Just let them swing, like you swung your legs. Go back, childlike, playful. It's lovely, it's what our body needs. Zero resistance, lots of blood flow. From side to side, in your own time. And I'm going to come back into our standing position, and we're going to come into a balance pose, and we're going to use the chair for a little bit of support here. I want you to breathe in and lift that right leg. Feel as though that right leg and right arm are connected like a puppet on a string. We're going to raise it and then continue up with the right arm, coming into a beautiful standing pose. Flex the foot, and we're going to rotate that thigh, bring it out, and here we're going into a tree pose. Now you can do it on the thigh, you can do it on your calf, you can do it at ankle level. Just be careful of the knee, don't push the knee out, you don't want to force anything. Come into a position that suits you and hold it there. Feeling the connection of the foot against the mat, drawing up strength, energy from the earth, setting your conviction, feeling good. Breathe in fully and deeply, lengthening the torso, crown is proud to the ceiling or sky. And on the out breath, we're going to release it down. Release that leg down with purpose, with meaning. Nicely done. And we're going to just move to the opposite side. Coming into our balance pose. Again, breathe in and pick up that knee. Feeling as though it's a puppet on the string. Release it up, zero resistance. Breathe in. Flex on the foot and rotate that thigh. Place the foot against the thigh. That's where the power comes. You push the foot against the leg, whichever position you come to. Raise that arm, and if you want to check your balance, you can release both hands or maintain your stability with that chair. That's what it's for. We use props. Yoga is not a torture program. Breathe in and release that leg down. Beautifully done. And come back into that release. Head and neck is simply there. Arms are simply being. Release, release, release. Releasing your tension. Releasing your anxiety. And coming back to that feeling of calm, confidence and readiness. And now we're going to take a seat. Again, take your seat all the way to the back of the seat. So you feel as though you're pushing the thigh bones back, you're sitting on the thigh, raising shoulders to your ears, release them back and down, palms are faced up. And we're going to come into that awareness of the breath. To complete our session, let go of any belly gripping, let go of any muscles that are engaged now. You don't need them. Relax into that awareness. Feeling the breath into the body cold through the nostrils. Traveling down all the way into the pelvic area and release. Like toothpaste, leaving the tube, slow, deliberate, conscious breath. With that exhalation twice as long as the inhalation. As we let our muscles rest and absorb the gentle work that we've just done in our session. Feel free to stay for as long as you wish. You can lie down for this part, that's what we're supposed to do for Shavasana. And we're going to bring our hands to heart center and flicker our eyes open. And rub the hands together. Generate some heat through friction. And we're going to take this heat to the eyes and the face. And just give ourselves a nice massage. We're just removing any trace of tension. Circular motions around the face. And down. And using an amount of pressure that suits you, take the fingertips through the hair around those pressure points. If you suffer from headaches, or even if you have a headache now, a nice amount of pressure will alleviate the symptoms and can stop headaches from forming if that's what you get. Releasing stress and tension all the way. And take the fingers to the back of the neck. Lower the head slightly and just using a circular motion. Just release the muscles of the neck. Moving it down to the shoulders. And bringing hands back to heart center. Keeping this feeling of calm and peace. As we set our metronome for the day or for your evening. Namaste. Thank you, Inspired Youth. I hope you enjoyed that. Please feel free to take a rest down if you need to. I hope that you feel the release of tension that I do. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Hannah. That was lovely, very relaxing, and I like the way that you personalize that for many situations that teens will be in, going for job interviews and all kinds of things that everyone's going through at the moment.
Yeah, Missa, I found it hard to stay awake. I felt so relaxed. It's like,
Yeah, sometimes you just need to slow down, right?
Sometimes you just need to be and breathe and let it happen around us and watch our thoughts go by like cars on the road. And why not? It's clear.
Well, just listening to your voice, I mean, you've got such a calm demeanor, and I think I just need to contact you a few times a day just to listen to you talk, and that would already be good therapy. That was, one doesn't always realize when you think of yoga, you always, like I have like in my head these really crazy poses, and I look at this and think, oh my God, I would never be able to do that. But this demonstrated that, I mean, you can just do it at your desk. It doesn't require a huge amount of flexibility in the beginning, I guess. You build it up over time.
It's a misconception, Anne-Marie, that you need to be flexible. It's actually more about taming the mind. It's about, accepting and being. And I do living room yoga. As you can see, this is where I provide all my sessions from. It's online. And I make use of the sofas. We get chilled, we get relaxed, we enjoy our bodies, we get used to what we're good at, and we do push a little bit. We like to have the physical side of it as well, but it's mainly mental. It's mainly about setting ourselves up to cope with whatever the day brings.
And how long would a session with you be if people want to do online sessions with you? I mean, how can they contact you via your Instagram page? Or I know you are an Unwind Yourself Yoga on Instagram. So how can people get hold of you?
Yeah, you could get hold of me via Instagram. I've got a website that I don't often use, if I'm perfectly honest, but I think Instagram's probably the best bet. And I've also got a YouTube channel that I'm setting up now, and I run sessions between 45 minutes to an hour. I do one-to-ones with certain people because we all come with our own issues and reasons for coming to yoga. I do group sessions that are before work. I do an afternoon or an evening session as well. So I tailor it around the people because we've all got such busy lifestyles. It's something that I love. I practice every day, and so for me, the more the merrier. If people join me, fabulous. If not, I'm all good.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Hannah. And it was really very relaxing and, really opened my eyes in terms of I'm already sitting differently in my chair here. So thank you so much. And it was really
Thank you,
fantastic.
Hannah. Yeah.
You're very welcome and have a beautiful evening.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you so much.
You.
Okay, so that was quite interesting.
It's always nice to have a little break, isn't it?
Yeah. Yesterday we had the virtual drumming, and now we had the yoga sessions. And you know what? For me, the most important thing is, both of us have a keen interest in neuroscience, and I think people don't realize how important it is to take note of what stress does to your brain and your ability to be creative. And that's what is so important. So we have to take care of ourselves. And I'm sure of the studies that were done in schools where they practice yoga and mindfulness, how the students' results also improve, Helen.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's we're not meant to just sit still and whether that be in a classroom or at home staring at a screen. Our bodies need to move, don't they? And we need to also take time for that kind of self-care. And I think we overcomplicate things sometimes, and it can just be those little moments. Standing up for a minute can just make such a huge difference. And more and more research, I think, is coming out about classrooms with standing desks, and a lot of research coming out about mindfulness and how creating these mindful moments in the day can really impact the learning that's happening.
Yeah,
well-being, of course. Yeah.
So we have now with us the team from Urda, and I'm going to just play a short introductory video. So I'm going to just let I don't know where Hanan is now, but I'm sure she will come back on, but I am going to play a short introductory video where we have a look at what they do as an organization. Here we go.
من 2012 لل 2021 وعلى مدى 9 سنين من العمل الإنساني التخصصي، ورغم التحديات اللي عم بتزيد يوم بعد يوم، ساعدنا كتير من الناس وبعدنا عم نساعد ضمن 7 قطاعات إنسانية: الإغاثة، الإيواء، الرعاية الصحية، التعليم، الحماية، الكفالات، وسبل العيش. ورح تبقى أوردا عم تسعى إنها تكون الحضن الآمن لكل محتاج بلبنان.
So much suffering in the world, so many refugees, displaced people, and we need organizations, NGOs to support them and help them. And so many young people are asking what, they want to make a difference in the world, but they don't necessarily know how or where. And it was that's why we want to bring the representatives from Urda. It's a NGO that focuses on many of the UN SCGs. And if you go to their website, you will see how many different initiatives they have around medicine, medical help, education, advocacy, supporting people with accommodation, living, their living conditions, food support, and all kinds of different situations that they face. But we are also very aware of the fact that in Lebanon at the moment, electricity is a huge problem. Internet connectivity is a huge problem. So we just had Hanan on here, but she's not here anymore, and I think it must be because of the internet connectivity. So I think while we wait for Hanan and her team to come on, we can in the meantime watch another video. And this time I'm going to share something produced by a lady here in Malaysia, Susan Bennett, and she prepared this presentation for us on statelessness. Oh, there's Hanan now. Let's see if we can get her on board. There we go. Okay. Hi, Hanan. Welcome.
Hello.
We're very glad to have you here with us on the Inspired Youth Summit. I just shared the little video clip on your organization just to give our participants a better understanding of what it is that you do. But of course, it is such a short clip, so we're looking forward to hearing more about what you do as an organization. What are the challenges you face, how it is linked to the UN SDGs, and what can people do to help and support your organization?
Well, first of all, allow me to express my pleasure that I'm invited to this unique and special youth summit. It's really a pleasure for me to be part on board with you. You've been doing an amazing job. I've sneaked into your previous panels, and we really, me personally and as Urda, are really honored to be hosted by you. And also, El-Marie, before I delve into who Urda is and all of these things, I would like to tell you in a very nutshell and in brief how me personally got into the humanitarian work, and how volunteering and humanitarian work becomes an addiction, and it becomes part of you. It becomes an innate trait of a person, and a person cannot get detached from within a compiled years of experience. So we're speaking of 10 years ago in Lebanon, where we've witnessed all in a sudden a huge influx of the Syrian refugees to Lebanon due to the Syrian conflict. And so I volunteered all in a sudden, without previous preparation, without previous trainings, without the know-how of how to deal with wounded people, orphan children, widows, elderly, patients, all kind of vulnerability that gets to one's mind in the humanitarian field. I've been all in a sudden put in front of hosting such a huge number of the Syrian refugees in Urda's refugee camps. And so this is how Urda came to birth, if you'd like the beginning of the story. It became by us who are activists and who didn't have previous preparation, but who simply believed in the compassion of helping others and in the importance of helping every person in need. This is how Urda got established back in 2011 and later on legally registered in 2013. So and you can relate this experience to any other NGO in the world. It's not that we previously prepare or build a foundation. It's simply this volunteering aspect and that blooms from the personality of one who believes in helping others. This is how NGOs get born and how they progress later on and develop into international organizations. So this is what I wanted like to say before introducing you to Urda in Lebanon and to the several programs that Urda now is running.
Wow, it's a very interesting way that you introduce this, to say it becomes an addiction, and that you once you start doing this, and I think, Helen, you can relate. I mean, I know that you are helping the kids in Cambodia, and you know, we are helping. We're not helping refugees, but we're also helping people in Tanzania. And I think this is when a human being feels most, when you can help other people and you make a difference in other people's lives, right? It's when you
Yes.
sort of it's the highest
Creates
achievement
meaning,
that
right?
a human being can have, right?
Exactly, exactly. And if I may also, El Mari, like tell you, a couple of days ago, I passed by a definition of the NGO. Like for once, I thought, why is it called a non-profit organization? When if one comes of them, one comes to think philosophically of the meaning of a non-profit organization, it in fact is the one corporate or organization that builds the hugest profit ever, because the profit that an NGO implants is everlasting. It changes
Yeah.
the lives of vulnerable individuals. It changes the lives of those in need. It empowers people that are waiting for this empowerment, because our projects mainly align with the SDGs for a specific goal, for them to stay sustainable. It's not that they're there for a random purpose. No, they are there because we need as NGOs to align with SDGs and to fit specific objectives wherein we change the lives to the better.
That's very interesting, and you know, there's a big debate, or not a debate, but discussions that go on around how do you make an NGO itself as an organization more sustainable, so that, you know, because you are very vulnerable, right? You have to rely on volunteerism, you have to rely on funding, and
Yes.
you know, that always exposes you to a change in a funder's perspective or willingness or fatigue in funding the
Yes.
same program, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
you know, tell us a little bit more about, you know, what do you do to help protect yourself from this kind of fluctuations that could happen, and also
Yes.
maybe, you know, some of the things that you do, some of the causes you support, programs that you have, and who funds this?
Now, I'll start from a macro view in introducing Urda's projects first, and then we'll delve into specific projects that are in some way considered as sustainable projects. Basically, Urda is an umbrella to 7 humanitarian sectors. So we are able to cover all the humanitarian fields that include shelter support, relief support, education, healthcare. Healthcare is medical support, protection. By protection is an umbrella of all psychosocial support projects and activities. Livelihoods is development itself. And the last humanitarian sector is the sponsorship that basically deals with the vulnerable widows and the vulnerable orphans present in Lebanon. We basically target refugee communities as well as host community, the Lebanese host community, especially in the past 2 years, because Lebanon have been witnessing drastic change and drastic fluctuation on that impacted the Lebanese citizen the same level as impacting the refugees residing in Lebanon. So this is what Urda covers. Our projects mainly are categorized into 2 sections. One of the sections is the one that depends on funding purely, because these are related to the emergency responses, and the ones that are seasonal, and the ones that are fixed year after year. What do I mean by this? I mean fixed seasonal projects such as winterization, such as the ones that sadly happen in response to crises, like Beirut port explosion, for example. Yesterday exactly marks 1 year after the massive blast that we have been through in Lebanon and that hit our port in the capital, and that caused the death of 219 individuals and the injury of more than 6,000 individuals. So some of our projects are mainly response to this, and this is rapid response wherein we provide core relief items, hygiene items, food parcels, etc., etc., etc. The other projects come as based on strategic objectives that every department or every sector at URDA plans annually for. Example, let's say the healthcare program runs medical support programs to the vulnerable patients in Lebanon. Example precisely are the dialysis patients that are unable to cover their treatment fees. This is one of the projects, and these, though they depend on funding, but these are strategic and they live for more than 1 year. They're different from the seasonal ones because the seasonal ones are made to cover a gap that is now instantaneous and that when covered it ends. Other sustainable projects also, Elmarie, are directly related to the sustainable development goals. Let me give you a clear example of this is the women empowerment, let's say. We have one of the very unique projects called We Can project that empowers refugee women and Lebanese women who are incapable to launch their startups without microloans. So we are the ones who provide them with these microloans to initiate their startups and to build income generating projects later on. And I won't forget to tell you about the education projects for sure, that because that's the department that I lead and have been leading since 10 years for now. The education projects also align with the sustainable development goals that teaches us that we need to provide quality education to the children who are out of school. And these out of school children won't be able to have a chance to get enrolled in formal education or in non-formal education if it weren't for our NGO support. So if you want, I can like continue giving more examples, but like the examples are many. And
yeah, it is really so fascinating and very complex at the same time, right? I can't imagine how when you have to plan your funding, you know, you have to have funds for emergency response, you need long-term funding for these projects, and then also, of course, if I take a school, I mean, we educationalists, right? There's a lot of different aspects and different things to be funded: buildings, teachers, books, you know. Do you only rely on sponsorships, or do you also have other ways? I mean, how do you fund these projects?
Now, when it comes to funding, also funding is categorized into two main routes. One is the typical NGO funding that we get as URDA from different countries. Now, something that makes us special is that we were able to build a level of professionalism that allows us the pool of funding from different countries. By these, I may name like countries like South Africa, countries in Europe, countries like Spain, like America, like Malaysia as well. So from different countries, and not to forget the Gulf countries as well. So we've like built a level of trust between us and between international NGOs who do rely on local NGOs such as URDA in the country of conflict to support and to pool their funding to. Another part of the funding is the sustainable funding that we really seek to achieve. I'm not going to say like that we're perfect in this, but any NGO strives to build projects that they themselves become income generating and that they themselves become sustainable on their own. I can give an example of this. Like we used to have charitable kitchens before that changed into projects that allowed the women that used to work with inside of them to earn their own income. The same as a tailor's knitting and sewing workshop and such development related projects. It is the dream of any NGO to stop relying fully on funding, but funding is a necessity because it's, after all, two-way perspectives, let me say. There are countries who are in need of help and countries who are ready to offer this help.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's especially if you demonstrate, like you have shared, you have a long established history, trust relationship. You have proven the impact of the programs. And, today the trend seems to be more towards impact funding and funding sustainable programs than just, companies are no longer just saying, okay, let me, I just want to be on the photograph with the poor children. It's not enough anymore. They want to really measure the impact of the program, and if you have been able to do so, that is a fantastic history that you are sharing.
Yes.
It makes it easier, I suppose, to also get funding in the future.
Exactly. And to prove what you're saying, like to support what you're saying, El-Marie, because Urda has been now operating for 10 years, let's say, effectively 10 years, you can easily tell the difference between the projects that we now run and the projects that we used to operate in back in the beginning of the crisis. Like back then, it's only rapid response to cover a gap, now an instantaneous gap that cannot wait to be covered. But now we're moving towards development, we're moving towards livelihood support, we're moving towards empowering vulnerable individuals not to stay customers of, if I can say, customers who are in need of this service. No, you can be the ones who are providing this service and providing it not only for yourself but also for the others in need. The same goes to education projects. We're not only thinking of projects that cover the gap of non-formal education and those that cover illiteracy with children. We always seek to enroll the student, even if he or she started with non-formal education, to link them then later on to formal education. So you can easily, by rapid reading of what of the difference between the work 10 years ago and now, tell that most of the NGOs in Lebanon are in the belief of development and sustainability more than before.
Yeah, and that is really encouraging, and I think that would also make donors more willing to invest, because it's not like it's just a hole that I have to fill, and there's never going to be an end. But that, I love the word empowerment, and I really, it's very interesting. I read some statistics that women who are funded with microloans also tend to be much better at repaying the microloans. Has that been an experience from your side as well?
Well, the experience with the microloans was not only successful on the level of the refugee women only, but also with the circulation that happens when the project ends. Because like when you give them the grants and then the microloans, and then you ask them to return them on a scale of 1 year, that's very relaxing for them and that's very comfortable. It is to you a record that will get you another 100 women later on, the year after, and so on. So like this economic cycle is the thing that we really seek to achieve in most of the projects, not only in development projects. And this is how any successful project can prove its sustainability.
So can you tell me a little bit? I think you have a phone. Is there a phone in the background or a computer? Because I hear my echo. It's okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what, we have young people in our summit, right? And they are from across the world. They might be asking, how can I get involved, or how can I support your organization? So do you take volunteers, tell us a little bit more about how can people help you?
Okay. Now, speaking of volunteerism, we or any other NGO cannot operate without depending on the help of our community, neither on the help of volunteers from abroad. And we're glad to say that we're not new to this, because URDA has been since long hosting interns and volunteers from different sides of the world, from Spain, from European countries, from South Africa, and from the other countries that I previously named. In here, El-Marie, I have to explain that we have a process of volunteerism at URDA. We do host interns or volunteers who are willing to volunteer just for the sake of help, just for the sake of support, just for the sake of filling their time in something that they can create a positive impact in the society. And we also host volunteers and interns who are, who are asked to fill a specific number of community service hours, because they have been assigned to do this by their high school or by their university. So we have the doors open for both volunteers. And if I can explain what is it that they can do, well, they can do a lot of things, because they can either support one specific project related to a specific domain that concerns them, like the medical domain, like the development domain, the protection, the psychosocial support domain, the education domain, or they can come to fill, to know and get to know what an office work in an NGO and what a field work in an NGO means. By the field work, they will get exposed to more than 30 camps in Lebanon, because URDA has the access to a lot of refugee camps, and some of these camps are directly owned and fully run and operated by URDA. So also this allows the volunteers the chance to build their research if they are willing to conduct some education-related research, a specific kind of survey they want to conduct on the level of Lebanon country scale, and other things. So the door is open, and it's open wide. But speaking of the process, is something we can later on share with you, and you can in return share with your networking.
Okay, now that is very encouraging and very interesting to hear. I think sometimes people just they feel they have a calling, but they don't know where to go or what to do. Or as you said, maybe for their universities, they need to have that experience, those community hours. And for sure, we will definitely talk to you after this, and we will maybe put this out on all our various social networks. And last question I wanted to end with was, what would you say if you could advise our young people? What are certain skills or competencies that a NGO worker, a person who works in the NGO field, needs to have?
Now that's something very, very important to raise, El-Marie, because this is something the volunteer might not be in full comprehension of before admitting to volunteerism. Back to my initial story, we as URDA individuals weren't given the chance to prepare ourselves before. But now, calling for volunteers, they do need to acquire some skills, and these skills basically must start with the introduction to what is safeguarding, to what is child protection, to what is what are the means of dealing with refugees and dealing with vulnerable people, because there are specific red lines, if I can say, that cannot be crossed when dealing with vulnerable people. You cannot provide them full help and support in a way that they become dependent on you. So there is a list of trainings that volunteers need to acquire, and this is also something that we as URDA provide before giving the volunteers access to vulnerability and access to vulnerable populations and to direct contact with individuals. Other than that, like that's personal training. These are professional skills. They also need to know that when relating to the office work in an NGO, it's very much similar to a corporate. It's a company. There is a system to follow. There is a there are certain standards and means of communication they need to abide by, etc. But these also come by the time they apply to volunteering, inshallah.
And if we look at personal competency, so would you say, because I can imagine, it must be really, really hard to go and see that suffering and not be personally affected by it. How do you, you must be very resilient and very empathetic, but very strong as well, because as you said, you can help to a certain extent, but you can't solve everybody. That must, I think, be a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
I think you learn that over time, right?
Yes, yes. It needs time, it needs patience, it needs a little bit of rigidness, something that you sometimes force yourself not to show in front of people, but in fact it's highly important to build a border between you and between the one receiving the service, because after all, we don't want to, like, on a long run, we don't want to affect them and let them become fully dependent on our help. We need to strengthen them, to empower them to solely work on adaptation, on acceptance, and on changing their situation to the better. So a lot of things that volunteers need to be aware of, and it's something, Al-Mari, that we try to test before hosting anyone. Like, what's your purpose of coming? What are the outcomes that you, on personal level, believe you need to achieve? It's not a fixed program. It's tailored and optimized on the level of each volunteer and each intern on his or her own self.
Well, it is fascinating. I think we can go on for hours to talk about this, and I really want to encourage everybody to go to your website. I love the stories there. You have the stories of different people, and when we tell people stories, it's always so encouraging. And also want to encourage our educational network. There are many ways in which they could support you even from a distance, maybe with teacher training, maybe with, curriculum development. So, reach out. And this is the message to young people as well. We will share some information about volunteering, and that might be something that you might be interested in doing, or just share the word, raise awareness of the importance of this organization. And I really want to congratulate you on the amazing work that you are doing.
Thank you.
And for sure, from our side, you can count on our support moving forward. So thank you so much for coming on to this program.
Thank you. It has been really pleasure. One last word, very fast, I'd like to tell to every youth interested in volunteering, like, take it from someone who has been there in your shoes one day. You'll never learn the experience of volunteering unless you live it. So no matter how many times you watch movies, you watch videos, you get to read statistics, read surveys, read researches based on what is a refugee, who is a refugee, how he is living, what is the meaning of a country of conflict. you'll never get to know this unless you really live it and be into this experience to the full extent. So we're there ready, and we're always glad to receive support, because like we cannot do everything, but every person can do something for sure. For sure.
That is a very, very true word spoken. Last year in our conference, we spoke to Lawrence Leon of the Asia Philanthropy Circle, and he used that very same thing. You know, you can have all the money in the world, but the best way to start with philanthropy is to become a volunteer and to go into the field and really experience it yourself. And it worries me now with this COVID and people living such virtual lives, you know, living in a virtual world. How many experiences are our young people missing out on? So
yes,
that's very good advice. I mean, for anything in life, right? So thank you so much, Hannah. It was really lovely, Hanan, having you here, and I'm looking forward to having future conversations with you.
Sure.
And good luck with all your good work that you are doing there.
Thank you, and best of luck in all that you are doing. It's really amazing to have been part of this.
Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Bye-bye. Have a good day too.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Wow, that was incredible, and I really hope that you found this inspiring and that you've also gained a lot of insight into what you can do to make a difference in the world. You know, you're never too young or too old. You're never too old to start. You're never too young to start. And as many of our panelists have said, you know, it might not be that huge thing, but you could start within your own circle of influence. You could start a small thing with a small group of people, and yet, you know, even if you just change the life of one person, or you contribute in one way, whether it is maybe teaching English online to some children or to some adults, or reading online, or I mean, there's just doing some fundraising or whatever. I mean, there are so many things. But as I said to Hanan, I will share this information on our Facebook page and on the LinkedIn page and all of those places so that you can get involved. So that was great. So now let us go to our panels and listen to panel 5. So this is with Majid and his group of panelists, really amazing people from such an incredible array of countries. Kyrgyzstan, we have Kyrgyzstan, we have, oh, let me not give it away. You can watch and see who are the people in this panel.
My name is Majid Mustafa. I'm from Uganda, and in today's forum, I will be your moderator. I'll be asking you the questions, or mainly I will be conducting the forum and making sure I'll be basically directing the discussion. And thank you for all the esteemed panelists for attending the session. And I mean, we can go forward with each introducing ourselves. I think I've introduced myself enough, and I guess we could start with Rafa from the left of the screen. If you could please introduce yourself, the stage is yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Rafa Al-Khatib. I'm from Lebanon, and I guess I'm really excited to be here today. I'm also very excited to be part of this. It's such a nice thing for us youth. Thank you.
You're welcome. And moving on to my right is Salama. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. So if I mispronounced your name, please forgive me for the first time. Please introduce yourself.
No, it was right. My name is Salama Salem. I am from the United Arab Emirates, and I'm excited also to be here. And it is such a big opportunity for all of us, I think. I
hope all of you guys have the same view like me, because when I say right, like I'm basically saying it from how I'm seeing the screen. So I guess the next person would be Brunmayi Rahalkar. Yeah, the stage is yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Murmaira Harakar. I am from India. I am 19 years old, and it is an honor to be a part of this panel discussion. I am looking forward to having great conversation with all of you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Davida, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing the name again. Forgive me for the first time. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I am Davida Darshini, that's my name, Davida Darshini. I am from India, and again, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. And Sivani P. Nathan, please tell us about yourself and introduce yourself. Which country are you from? How old you are? You know, just the basic introduction.
Hey everyone, I'm Shivani P. Nathan. I'm from India and I'm 15 years old, and I'm really looking forward to hearing everyone's ideas and expressing my own.
Very happy to have you. And Milena Danilova, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Milena. I'm 15 years old and I'm from Uzbekistan. I'm really glad to be here because I've been looking for an opportunity like this for quite some time now.
We're very glad to have you, by the way. And is Kastiat Nurlan Bikova over here?
Yeah, I'm here. My name is Kastiat Nurlanbekova and I'm from Kyrgyzstan. So I'm really happy to be here and hope that everybody will get some experience. That is all.
And likewise, we're very happy to have you. And Rahaf Hamza, if you could also introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Rahaf Hamza. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Lebanon. I'm very glad to be here. It's really an honor to be invited to this summit, and I like to hear from everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. Hopefully I haven't left anyone else out. It's very nice to see that there are people actually like youth joining us from every part of the world. I mean, we have people from Lebanon, people from Emirates, from India, from Kyrgyzstan. It's amazing. And I'd like to pose my question. Now we're going to move to our last and final topic of discussion, which is going to take a good chunk of our time because it's a very vast topic, a very general topic, which is SDGs. Okay, I'm going to be honest. When I came in as a moderator, I had literally no idea what SDG stands for. But a quick Google search revealed that it's basically a collection of 17 interlinked global goals designed to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. It was set up by the UN General Assembly in 2015, and it's hoped to be achieved by 2030. Now, I want to start by asking Kastiat Nurlanbekova about what are some sustainable development goals that you think are important in your country. For example, climate change or poverty or hunger. You know, what are some of the issues that need to be faced in the country that you're living in?
Okay. I think that's biggest problems in every country, in every poor country like Kyrgyzstan, is corruption. It's the first one. And second is education. Just not everyone has ability to study well. So I think that is thirdly, education, not just education like learning some books or something like this, just etiquette. How could I tell it?
Correct.
Yes. So that's all.
How do you think you as a youth, you can solve that problem? I mean, I think we're all either below our 20s or just gracing our 20s in this session, maybe between 15 and 21. So what are you doing, Kastiat, as a youth to solve this issue in your country of inequality in education or a not very good educational system?
About education, now I'm just studying, so I hope that in the future I'll open National Library, and I'd like to do something for education in my country. About corruption, I don't know what can people do. So you just can tell that you can not be in this system, like don't giving взятки. Okay. Yes.
Взятки is like when you give money to people under the table, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Corruption,
you
you
very much.
mean?
Yes, yes. But I think that problem is bigger. So I'll just try to help with education.
I think opening a library is a very good place to start, because even when it comes to etiquette and corruption, like all problems of a society begins at education. If people don't receive the good education and upbringing as children or as individuals, then I think that it will be very difficult to actually fix a society. Thank you very much, Kasiat Nulanbekova, on your insight. And moving on to Davida, what do you think are some of the SDG goals that your country or the place that you're living in should work towards? You know, is climate change a big problem over there? Gender equality, gender justice?
So in India, as a student, I'm focused on 5, gender equality, and 13, climate action. And also 1, no poverty, 2, 0 hunger, 9, innovation infrastructure in India. These things need to be looked into. These matters are the ones that need to be looked into.
I see. And how do you intend to fix these matters? Okay, let's start with, for instance, gender equality or gender justice. How do you want to bring justice to both genders so that they can both function well in a society, so that they can work together in a society?
Yeah, so gender equality, I think I could start with myself, my family, my friends, and people around me, my society, my neighbors. Sometimes they give preference to boys first, but I think they should also give equal preferences to the girls. But surprisingly, in my school, in my class, the ratio for girl is to boy is 2:1. It's actually other way around in other schools, but it's this way. So in my personal life, I have faced few problems, but compared to the matters with other people's lives in India, mine can seem be trivial. So focusing on climate change. So in my middle school, I was in ecology project. So we learned topics under wildlife and vegetation. And I participated in a campaign to save birds in one of the oldest sanctuaries, Vedantangu Bird Sanctuary in India, through my painting. I've always been good at painting. So I also create awareness among my family members, my friends and neighbors on energy conservation, sustainable survival in climatic changes, and reducing pollution. Human beings are the sole reason for environmental destruction. Greenhouse gas emissions caused by human activities has led to rising temperatures in India. For example, in the years 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018 in Tamil Nadu, the place where I live, the southern state of India has become prone to cyclones due to climate changes. And there was a huge loss and destruction. Over 500 people lost their lives because of that. So, and I also participate in science exhibition to demonstrate how human activities can destroy the nature, the biodiversity, the quality of environment, and so on. And looking into like no poverty and zero hunger, personally, being a student and I'm only 15 years old, not financially stable yet, so I can't be much help, but my ambition is to become an entrepreneur. So once I achieve that, and the ones I know I'm financially stable, I promise to be a philanthropist.
That's very inspiring to hear all the things that you've done to uplift the problems in your country, such as climate change, and you bring awareness to people through your artwork and through your exhibitions. So that is really inspiring to hear. And I think that all of us as youth in our own respective countries have great potential. It doesn't matter about our age, if we're 15, 14, as long as you're above 12, I mean, you're good to go. moving on to Mrunmayee Rahalkar, what are some SDG goals that you personally are working to in your country?
Honestly speaking, there aren't any I was living in Muscat till last year, Muscat, Oman. I have done my education till 12th standard over there, and I came back to India this year because my college had called me back. But if you think of India as a country, I feel that, like Daveda said, that things like poverty or hunger or inequality are things that we really need to look into, because somewhere we still have all these things going on, and inequality, I think, still prevails, and we need to work towards it. We need, and not just not being biased over any specific gender. So I feel that that is something that needs to be changed or needs to be looked at.
I see. I was saying, so what projects or what are your plans to changing things or achieving those SDG goals in your countries or in your country?
What happens a lot of times is that due to certain problems like these, it helps and it affects people's mental health in a very in not a very good way. Of course, they get affected. People slip into depression, or they go through a very difficult time because of these things. So I would like to do something for people that way. Like, I would like to in future, if there's I would like to help people with dealing. I would help. Can I start again? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. This is a light-hearted discussion. No problem.
Yeah.
Slips happen.
So what basically I meant was that I would like to help people get over such things. I would like to help them get through the trauma or the problems that they have faced regarding these inequalities or any of the things that are not good.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm back again. Wow, so many inspiring young people creating amazing change in the world, isn't it? It's so
it's so interesting, and a sudden end there to the video, but it's I hope that this would create a spark, right? At least if you just hear what somebody else is saying or wants to do. I know that Kasiet said she wants to create a national library in Kyrgyzstan, and I mean that's such a great ambition. I don't know if you've ever been to Kyrgyzstan, Helen.
No,
I can really recommend it as a place to travel to. We're running a project there with a leadership development project, and I've been there I think 5 or 6 times now. And it's an amazing country. It is stunningly beautiful. It is there's so many opportunities for education development, and the people are just so warm and engaging, and they've got to have a troubled past, right? So it's wonderful to see youngsters, because English is quite difficult for them, and it's great to see somebody like Kasiet so fluent in her English and so confident, and so it's just heartwarming. Really wonderful.
The generation that's going to change the world, isn't it? They're so passionate and
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let me share another one of our panels, and then after that, I think I will share the really, really interesting presentation or video that Susan Bennett did on statelessness in Malaysia. So let me find our next video, and as I said, this is panel 4, very interesting views that they also have to share.
topic number 5 is about contributing and about the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I'm thinking maybe we can say, I don't know which one is your favorite, why, which one you think is very important.
Can I say, please?
They're all important, of course, and
Mhm.
they should all be achieved, but anyone that resonates with you particularly, that you have something you want to say about.
The goal that grabs my attention is overcoming poverty. Because if people actually overcome poverty, they can success in their lives and overcome many hard things in the world.
My favorite UN SDG is gender inequality, since females have been suffering from this problem from a long time ago in history. Here in Lebanon, also, everybody thinks that a woman is just born to sit in her husband's house, to raise kids. She can't work. She can't interact with people. We have females working, such as my mother, and their husbands support them 100%. But we also have some very, half of the society thinks, as I just said, that women shouldn't work, that the woman should stay. She shouldn't take her full studies. She shouldn't interact with others. She's just stay in her house. She's just a woman. No, we should give women the same rights as a man. She can work. She can do whatever she wants. It is her life. She's free to do whatever she wants. And here in Lebanon, females also have been suffering from great violations for them. There have been men that are violating them. There have been just sit in their house doing nothing, and they don't respect, husbands don't respect their female partner. So that's a very big problem here. It came to the extent that some females are just putting help on social media, requesting help from several organizations that can help here in Lebanon. It's been very hectic here in Lebanon. After they put also so females can't go outside. They've been so much hectic, and they can't even go outside, express themselves, say that we're going through so much in our houses. They're just being silenced, and no one's listening to their opinions. So they have been, it's been very, very bad here to all the female population here in Lebanon.
I think all of them are obviously really important, and I have other favorites, but with COVID, I really understood the value of the good health and well-being sustainability goal, especially with mental health. I feel like COVID opened a lot of conversations about that. And I think we are on the road to a better future because of that. I think that's one of the positive things that we can take from COVID and this sustainability goal. But I also think, with the COVID vaccines, I think this goal needs to be implemented a lot right now because everyone deserves to get the vaccines they want, and if they want to, obviously. I think this goal was really highlighted this year, and I think it's probably going to be, we have learned a lot from this goal this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually mentioned the things that I'm going to say, but I like both poverty and women's rights, or probably gender equality. As Hasna said, women are being hit and slaughtered by their spouses because of them being 24/7 in front of them due to COVID stroke. So they're being forced to sit with them in the same house. And I actually have seen many divorce states, many of the couples divorced because they started to acknowledge that each other, maybe because the men used to work 24/7, so they didn't even attend the house. Now, due to COVID, men were forced to sit in houses. They got introduced to their families, so they noticed the big gap or the big difference in problems in their own families. So they learned to divorce or to try to fix those problems and to cope with them.
Yeah, no, I mean, domestic abuse and domestic violence has definitely risen during COVID, and it is becoming a serious problem. more than it was before. So yeah.
Yeah, so interesting hearing about the, a lot of young girls talking in different parts of the world about gender inequality, which we see everywhere, really. I mean, even in places we wouldn't expect it to be. I think it's still quite prevalent. But yeah, it's great to see these young girls standing up and wanting to change that, and that being something that they're thinking of promoting, or it's the awareness, really, first of all, I think is the most important, isn't it?
Yes, it's people say things have changed, but if you listen to women entrepreneurs find it much harder to get funding. In the tech world, women are, it's a much harder road for them to prove themselves. You find subtle discrimination still, everywhere, and it's a big, big.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I read a report recently, and it was saying, COVID has kind of put the gender equality back at least 25 years, I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's not good. So we need these young people to promote these causes, make people aware that they think they're important, and create change. Yeah.
Yeah, that is really a frightening statistic. One would have thought that with working from home that women would have more opportunities, but on the other hand, working from home means the kids are at home as well, and so who takes care of them, right? So yeah, that is let's not delve deeper into that. This could become quite an interesting conversation. This was a really short and brief last video, so I think we can get in another one before we share the one of Susan Bennett. So this would be panel 3, and panel 3 consist of kids from the Netherlands, from South Africa, from Sudan. It's a very mixed, representative group of young people. Very, very interesting to listen to them.
Maybe if you could tell us a bit about how you are, or maybe how you plan to make the world a better place in the future.
Firstly, like when I saw the questions about the youth summit and all, and they said, what's your favorite SDG goal? And for me, it was like zero hunger, because like I don't want to say Zambia. Okay, Zambia is a developing country, and there are like many people that live below the average wage, which is like I think $10, something like that. And like when I went to UWCT, and in Thailand, also people that don't have enough food, and there was this person that's like organizing this sort of food packing event where we make this certain food pack will like include rice and like some soya beans and some noodles and just like food stuff like that, and we send it to like a faraway island, like near the end of the coast, and just like give it to them. And just like a selected group of me and my friends have decided to come together and just like donate as much as we can, so we can also start that food packing system in Zambia. And I know it's a small step, but like hopefully we can help a few families out there by doing that.
And in terms of SDGs, as you mentioned, which are Sustainable Development Goals, maybe Reham has some which she feels is important for her country.
I feel like if we provide education, especially because in Sudan, like the schools there, they cost a lot of money. So I feel like if we have free education, it'll be much better for everyone.
And how about you, Rita? What do you think are some important sustainable development goals?
The one I found to be the most important was the one about having strong institutions and peace and justice. Basically, because I feel like if we achieve this goal, if this goal was achieved, then the rest, we would succeed in achieving the rest. Because, you know, having strong institutions means having very effective organizations that help people in tough situations. So it can, having strong organizations can help stop or decrease at least hunger and poverty. And it allows for people to be educated and in good health by giving them maybe access to medical care and ensuring a life in a healthy area, a healthy and safe environment. And strong institutions are also very essential in raising awareness about several issues, whether environmental or human related, such as saving the planet and its wildlife, diverse wildlife populations, or human related issues like dealing with severe climate change or providing people with affordable energy and methods of consuming products responsibly, as well as building sustainable cities and communities. And justice is also very important because it doesn't only apply to punishing criminals and stuff like that. It also means giving everyone the rights they deserve, regardless of race, religion, nationality, beliefs, gender, etc. It includes eliminating discriminating laws and regulations, which will result in the prospering of communities and economies and innovations. So everyone will be at peace with everyone and working towards a better tomorrow. So I believe that's the best goal, which will help change the future for the better.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like a ripple down effect, right? When you have peace and justice, it affects all of these other things, as you mentioned. Does anyone have a specific cause which they are really passionate about? Maybe Malene, we haven't heard from you in a while. Is there something specific which really stands out to you that you'd like to talk about?
I try to like my friends, I try to inform them a lot about like equality, because I think that's one of the most important things, but also climate change, because here in the Netherlands, like a week ago or something, there was this big flood, and like in Germany, I think 60 people died from that same flood. And that's all because of climate change. And I don't think people quite realize how bad it is until something like that happens. And especially here, because like we live under the sea level, and with the sea level rising, it's only going to get worse, and our land will just be gone in a couple of years if it keeps going like this. So I think those are the two I'm most passionate about.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Elliot? Do you have any specific causes that you're passionate about?
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I worked with an organization called ICU UNESCO, and it's just kind of focusing on the SDGs and creating projects to, pick one to help with. So we did a bike system for my town, which unfortunately didn't get implemented because of COVID, but it was kind of just to reduce pollution, because climate change is really serious. I mean, we see what's happening in America with the wildfires, we see what's happening in Germany with floods. There's worse and worse natural disasters every single year. And I just think it's really important that we do something now. I mean, it's already a bit too late, but we really have to implement things that are going to affect our climate in a positive light. But I also really like the Life Below Water SDG, which focuses on, marine life and the quality of our oceans. I mean, we've got so much plastic pollution in there, more than plastic. I mean, we've got oil spills, we've got coral reef bleaching, we've got overfishing, and all of these things really do affect us here on land more than we really think about it. I mean, we'll have a shortage of food, we'll have negative effects, rising sea levels, rising sea temperatures, we're going to have a, extinction of a lot of animals, and it's just really unfortunate. So I think that climate change and the marine life goal are two really important goals that we should focus on.
What do you think are some of the biggest changes that our society needs in order to go forward?
I feel like I'm just focusing on education here, but I feel like if everyone got education, that means that they can get more like high paying jobs, so then they can be more financially secure, and that will help like improve health, like less people get diseases because there'll be more doctors, you know. And I feel like another part is like ending poverty, but I feel like it's really hard for one, like just us to do that, because it's not really our fault. I feel like it's the big corporation fault and like government's fault, because they still like exploit countries that are like developing. And so I feel like we can just like donate to charity and send clothes and things like that.
It's very interesting to see the knowledge and understanding that some people have. Some of the young people have, like we just had Elliot who spoke about, you know, with such confidence about the different UN SDGs. And if I think here in Malaysia, there's not much of an awareness about, you know, the SDGs. It's not really promoted so widely in schools. And I think as educationalists, there is a role for us to play in educating kids from when they are young. I mean, to achieve these goals in 2030, you don't know whether, and especially now with the pandemic, that it's actually, I think it's set it back so far.
Yeah, there's so many, I think, kids that are so passionate and, you know about them and are learning. And then, I mean, I often meet other people and they're like, what's that? They've not even heard of it. So really does depend on the exposure. And, but, you know, when people do learn about it, they become quite excited about them, I think. And it's a great framework.
So easy to weave this into any curriculum. I mean, it covers the whole spectrum, right? So in language teaching, in science teaching, in geography teaching, in history teaching, I mean, it can just fit in, and also in universities. And I wonder if lecturers are actually taking that into account when they are planning their work. But yes, I mean, what can we say, right? We can't be too critical. Shall we? I wonder if we should, maybe we just push ahead and finish our panels, and then we will play that last video at the end. I'm sure some kids are waiting to see them themselves. So let's go for the next panel, and that is panel 2. And let me just quickly find it. So which one are you, which of the SDGs are you passionate about, Evan?
You know, quite a few of them, definitely. You know, the education, obviously, that's a passion of both of ours, but health and well-being, I think, is you know, something that I'm really passionate about, and ending poverty and hunger after, you know, spending time living in Cambodia. Seeing that on a daily basis really changed my perspective on many things. So that's something that I think is
and
really
that's what Hanan also mentioned earlier from Urda is, you know, you can't be a volunteer if you haven't actually seen it and lived it firsthand. So it does, as you say, it does change your perspective, right? About the privilege that we have. Privilege. Yeah. Okay, so let's listen to this panel.
So I'm 18. I'm from Portugal. I live near the seaside. I'm heading to university now, so I finished high school, and I intend to study international relationships. I'm into international politics, more on a humanitarian level. So for me, being here with people from different countries is very, very nice, even very, very interesting.
Hello everyone, my name is Oda. I am 15 years old. I'm from Bavaria, which is in Germany. And I really like reading and mostly about things that concern our world right now, how it is in the current state, and things about the environment, and just learn about the things that are current topics.
Hi, my name is Wang Ziling, but you can just address me as Ziling. I'm 14 years old this year. I'm currently in year 9, but I'm transitioning to year 10 in September. And hobbies of mine can include singing. I enjoy playing the piano, and I enjoy reading.
Hi, I'm Talia. I'm from the UK, but I lived in Malaysia for about 9 years, but I moved back here a couple of years ago. I've just finished doing my GCSEs, which is a bit of a mess because of COVID. And in September, I'm going to do my A-levels at college. I'm planning on studying physics, maths, and geography. I don't really know what I want to do, but I do want to make a difference somehow.
My name is Rashika, and I'm going to year 10. My hobbies are photography and reading, and I'm 15 years old.
Hello, my name is Andrea. I am 18 years old. I am Italian, and I just graduated from IB. And since I don't know what to do next, I'll be taking a gap year in Denmark, as I have lived there for 2 years and I really like it.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm from Ireland. I'm 16 years old. My hobbies include I do a lot of sport and a lot of drama and acting. And in the future, I really want to travel to experience different cultures and meet new people.
Cool, amazing. So I'm Francesca. I'm 17. I'm gonna be 18 in a few weeks. I just graduated high school in Denmark, but my mom is from Canada and my dad is from Italy. I'm really excited to speak with you all today because I think COVID was something so weird and so out of the ordinary. And I think we all have a lot to say, especially because we're from so many different places around the world now. What do you guys think, how can we make the world a better place? And what are some of the causes that you're passionate about?
Well, one of the causes that I'm actually very passionate about is spreading awareness about mental health and its significance towards one's daily life. I'm actually very passionate about mental health because many people disregard it. Some people just don't really think it matters, but it really does. And the pandemic actually has affected many people's mental health because a lot of people end up feeling lonely and isolated because of the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. Mental health definitely carries a big stigma. I think COVID really helped up to open the conversation as well. But I'm glad to hear that young people like you are passionate about it because it's definitely still an issue that we need to work towards. So does anyone else have any other, maybe even a United Nations sustainability goal that you guys are passionate, or if you guys are working on helping some type of problem in our community, in the world?
I believe education has to be a main concern because it's the basis of everything. So if you want to have adults that care about mental health, if you want to have adults that care about the climate change, if you want to have a better future, you need to start somewhere, and that somewhere is education. So I believe education is a crucial point to everything, anything we want to achieve in the future.
I agree completely. Education is super important, and it's such a privilege that a lot of us in the first world countries also take for granted. It can completely affect the way your life is based on your education. Does anyone else have anything they would like to say about an issue that they're passionate about or an issue that they think is, Mariam, would you like to go?
It's a cause, Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's for kids who have been struggling at such a young age with deathly diseases like cancer, and I feel like this foundation just gives them a simple smile on their faces, because we're kind of making their dreams come true by just donating as much. And I'm really passionate about it, because struggling with a disease at a young age is very hard.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine. But I'm happy to hear that you're passionate about that, and I'm glad that there's an organization to help those kids.
Well, I think what is really, really important is good education. Because if we think about it, we are in the third millennium. Some schools and universities are just the same as they were maybe 300 or 200 years ago. And they are told so many things that students maybe don't even have to know anymore, and really important things are left out. So I think, for example, if we think about maybe responsible consumption and production, not many schools actually teach the children about that, or maybe even all the environment and sustainability goals. I think talking about sustainability is really important, but how many schools actually do that? Not many. So I think it's really important to tell the people what is going on, and maybe just make them think about the things that are happening on our planet, and not just teach any things or maybe improving cars. If you just think about improving cars, we don't really need faster cars or fancier cars. What we need is another way of transport, because just making cars electrical doesn't solve the whole problem. I mean, it's a really nice step, and it's for sure in the right direction, but maybe we should just think more about what we can actually do to save the environment, to stop the climate change, and just change so many things, and not just sit there and just let everything happen and let some other people talk about it and take actions, because we are all part of this planet and we all are able to do something, even if it's a small step. It can be a huge process or a huge thing you can just do for the whole world, just if you care about it, if you think about it, and if you are actually passionate about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Right now is definitely the time for change, especially if we're talking about with climate change. It's definitely the time to do something now, especially with these big industries. I also think whatever we do on a scale is important, but obviously those big industries are the ones that should be trying to find the correct solutions right now. I think we're at the tipping point.
I think it's just in my country, but we keep on delaying. So a few years ago, our country did say that we will not completely, but reduce the usage of plastic. So in shops, they didn't allow and they banned the usage of plastic. However, if you actually look closely into our shops and supermarkets, you can see that we are still using plastic. And no, they do not charge you any prices for it. They just give it out for they did last time. So it didn't make much of a difference. Plus, people still continue even though there are bins all around. So it didn't quite much make a difference. So I think an important thing is to educate people about what littering actually can do to our whole entire planet itself, because I feel like a lot of people have actually ignored climate change as a big threat in life itself. So I think it is extremely important, and it was kind of upsetting to me that we kept procrastinating on the fact that we should stop using plastic.
Especially our generation, I think it's really important that we get the word out, because it is our generation that's going to be affected the most until generations to come. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you guys are so passionate about certain issues, because we're the change.
Well, I would like to say maybe just one sentence about the whole climate and education thing, and maybe all the goals we have. What I think is The nature is our home as the basic for living of everyone on this planet should come before economical profit.
Yeah, for sure. Without no planet, there's no economy. So
I definitely think that some people think climate change is very far in the future, but it's constantly happening now and it's constantly evolving and more people are learning about it. But it is something that is going to happen, like is happening, but will have a massive impact very soon. And I think that social media or being able to talk to your friends about it actually really helps. And I learned more about climate change on social media in the last year than I did like for a long time. Like it just actually opened my eyes to show what is really happening and how we can stop it or how we can prevent it anyway.
for sure, social media is such a great tool for spreading awareness, and it is scary, climate change. Every year, it just keeps getting, every summer, I was just talking to my grandma about this, how every summer we're always saying that it's the hottest summer it's been in I don't know how many years. And it's also so sad to see all the natural disasters that are happening, and more commonly.
Because of climate change, a lot of animals have lost their homes because of the wildfires that are going on. Also, the polar bears, they aren't really living their life to the fullest because of the climate change, and the ice is just melting away. Just very, very terrifying. Plus, the climate change happened because of doings. So basically using more plastic, not saving energy, because everything basically is from us. So we need to stop it in order to take control before we can't really do anything about it.
I mean, climate change is the problem, and it's the one that is affecting, for example, also another enormous problem, which is the problem of migration. Like desertification in Africa will inevitably end up meaning a lot more people migrating to Europe, and we need to stop climate change, because the point at which we cannot do anything is really, really coming close. So it needs to be a radical, quick change, and it needs an international solution. Like now there is a wave of nationalism in the world of people that say that we can solve this in our house, but we can't, because it needs a cooperation throughout the whole world to be solved. And I fear it's gonna end up badly if we really don't understand this soon. Like there are many things, many countries that are doing well. Like, for example, I've been living in Denmark. They're pretty good at understanding the importance of the environment, and the EU is also putting forward a lot of regulations and good things for the environment. But if we don't understand that this needs to be solved globally, then it will not be solved.
I agree completely that it's definitely an international cooperation. It is a global problem, so we can't solve it independent. I think our generation is definitely going to be more, hopefully more cooperative, because I think we all see that what a big problem it is. We have a lot more access to information than other generations did or do.
We talked a lot about isolation, and isolation itself is a bad thing, but being alone, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, because it allows you to learn more about yourself. There are people on this call who are younger than me, and actually discovering things about yourself as you grow up, it's not only good, it's one of the most fun things about growing up. It's really fun when you start discovering what you like, what you believe in, when you start discovering that maybe your beliefs are different from the ones the ones from your parents, and that's actually quite interesting and enjoyable. So I believe that if there's one thing COVID and life itself taught us, is that having time for yourself is good and it's fun.
I hope in the future people are more accepting to each other, whether that is, about them or their religion, and people are more open-minded to new things and new ideas. And I hope that people always jump at opportunities that scare them, because you never know what the outcome could be, or always push yourself out of your comfort zone. And I hope that people can realize that they can do what they love in the future and still make a difference.
My message would be to think about yourself and your community, and maybe how you fit into your community, and how you can help your community as well, because through communities is how we can reach more change. If everyone is trying to do their best in their communities, it will have a ripple effect for everyone. So I think that's a great way to start, if anyone, to try to make change in your communities.
I would just say that I think that everyone has a purpose, and there's a lot of pressure, I think, on younger generations to kind of be that like really big change that everyone's been kind of waiting for. But I would just say that any difference that you make, no matter how big or small it is still a difference. And you can change like 2 people's lives, you can change 2,000. Like it doesn't, that doesn't really matter in that sense. As long as you feel accomplished and you've done something that you want to do and makes you happy, I think that's the most important thing.
I think that even if it is a small change, it is still a change. So people shouldn't be worried that they don't make a big change, because a change is still a change, and a change is good. Take the climate global warming, for example. You could make a small change by trying to reduce the amount of carbon emission you make.
You're important, you're loved, you're worthy. No one really has the right to tell you you're not something in your life. You could do whatever you want if you're really passionate about it. And you're not nothing. You are something.
What is really important to me is the following. The nature is our home, as the basis for living for everyone on this planet should come before economical profit. I know I said that before, but I just think it's a really important message that everyone should know, and that should be spread around the world.
Bad things have been happening since the beginning of times. COVID is just the newest bad thing to happen. So they will always happen. We can't control it. What we can control is how we face it. So I believe that whatever happens to us in our life, we should always zoom out and watch it from above and see, okay, this is happening, but since we're here, let's see what's positive about this. And we should hold on to that. It can be 90%, 99% bad things. That 1%, we should be able to hold on to that, and from that 1%, grow something positive out of it. So that's what I believe in. It's not a romantic optimism. It's actually a rational thought, because you get nothing from being negative. So rationally, and we are intelligent beings, rationally, you should be opting always for the positive. So it's not like I'm a romantic being. I'm just being rational.
My message is do what you love and do it for yourself, because if you do it for yourself, it will be automatically translated towards the people around you, and it will have a good effect on people. So just don't worry about what you're doing, so long as you like it and so long as you think that that can make a difference. Again, as other people said, however small or little that is, it's still important, and it's little steps, but we have this saying in Italian that says, drop by drop, you get the sea. So just don't worry about the fact that it's a little drop by drop, you will get the sea, you will get the ocean. So yes, I think that's very important.
In my opinion, I think what's important to me is that you love yourself and respect yourself no matter what other people say and no matter how bad they judge you, because you know yourself best. And no matter how busy you are, take some time off and take care of yourself, because you yourself is important and your health is very important. Follow your own path and not others, and follow your own definition of success in life, because everyone has different definitions of success. And just because someone said this job is way better than this job, and doesn't mean that you need to follow their statements, and do whatever makes you yourself happy, and do it only for yourself, and know that you are worth it and loved.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Again, so many amazing, I mean, it's the passion, isn't it, that comes through, I think, and the determination, you know, that they will make a change. So really lovely to.
It makes you feel almost emotional listening to them, right? It's
Possibility, right? Yeah.
The insights. And Rodrigo from Portugal, he's such a positive young man. You know, he finds the positive side in things, and he said it's not romanticism. I'm just looking at it from it's just I'm looking at facts, and I'm thinking you can control how you respond. And this is an 18-year-old person.
Yeah.
It's
amazing.
It's absolutely stunning. Our last panel is a short one. It's only a few minutes. So let's do that, and that will then bring us to the end of our interviews, and then we will end with a video from Susan Bennett.
Our last and final fifth topic, which is how we can make the world a better place. And obviously we've been talking a lot about COVID and how it's impacted our lives through school or through how we've been coping or our interactions with other people. But I want to talk about you guys individually, personally, because each of you guys are here because you wanted, like you said at the beginning, you wanted to hear each other's opinions and different perspectives from people around the world who have had different experiences, right? So I want to hear from each of you about, do you guys have a particular cause that you guys are passionate about, that you've been helping or are looking forward to making an impact in the future? Alfonso, you didn't get to answer the last question, so do you have something important that you want to talk about?
I think that with the pandemic, in my personal experience, I learned a lot of the apps that we have to use to the homeworks. Before the pandemic, I don't know a lot of Word, of PowerPoint, of Excel, or Google Meet or Zoom. I don't, before the pandemic, it's so, for me, it was weird meet with people through these apps, through computer. But we have to learn a lot of these of technological
So technology is definitely something you're passionate about, and trying to, and you've been able to learn a little bit more about stuff over the computer, and you're hoping other people will be able to, because I know this has definitely been a difficult time online for everyone. So so for the rest of you guys, what's something you're passionate about that you're hoping can make the world a better place as we kind of get out of this pandemic?
For me, is a quality education. I feel like everybody should be able to get a great education and have good opportunities for the future. And I think I'm very invested in this topic because in my country, many people is not very good educated, And I feel like thanks to this, like education, we can make a better future for all those children and teenagers that doesn't have a good education. So for me, is that it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter the socioeconomic level that you have, if you can pay school or not, or your gender or your race or your culture. It doesn't matter that. It just matters that you learn and to have big opportunities for your future. So the way I want to contribute to a better future for all of us can live in is to help the nearest schools around the world, I don't know, and to help their students and to have a great education and to be someone someday in their future.
Awesome, great answer. What about the rest of you guys?
Well, I agree with like what was Victoria was saying about like education, and like I feel like at least in Ireland, I feel like education is something we kind of have good here, but I know that in other countries, you know, it's not as easy to get and people don't get it as good. And obviously I would like people to be able to get a good education because like, you know, in today's day, it's really like something we need. But I think as well, like mental health, like especially in like teenagers and with this year and all, I think it's something that like I'm passionate about, and I just think it could be improved on and there could be more resources, and there's still like stigma about getting help and like figuring things out, or like having, you know, a mental illness or not feeling okay. And I really feel that they're like, I would love to like figure out a way to properly help that and like to raise more awareness, because I feel like it is a big problem and that like it does need to be improved upon.
I would say one thing that I really have a passion for and am interested in helping out with is the environment and kind of everything that's been going on with that. For example, I care a lot about deforestation and pollution in the oceans and in our waterways. I think those are all really important issues that thankfully I think have been getting more and more addressed in the past couple of years, but I think definitely need attention. As Victoria and Hannah mentioned, definitely education I think is huge. Just giving people a pathway to education and allowing people, whoever needs to, whoever wants to, because as they said, it is a necessity for all kids. So I think that's really, really important.
Sarah, what about you? How are you trying to make the world a better place?
Like Owen, I am interested in environment too. And I was reading this book because first, I think that before I go and do something, I have to learn about this topic and everything that I can do to help, and everything that I can, for example, educate people, like talk with them and tell them what I learned and why things are this way. So, for example, I was reading this Roger Scruton, Philosophy Green, his book that is about the environment with politics and all of this, because the environment it's rough. We have these issues with pollution. We have the ocean problems. But I think that first to begin, we have to start doing a local thing. So we can try to help, for example, all the world if we do not care about our neighbor, about our city. So I think that a good way to start that I'm learning to is to start with my city, with my neighbor, so that we can start here. So for example, our park, our streets, we have a lake here that is very, very dirty and have a lot of pollution. And in the past years, it was a really beautiful lake. So I think that we should start locally. So for example, volunteer for cleanups in beaches, in things here in our city. So that's what I was learning, that we have to start local to go global. So we have to take care of our garden. We have to take care of our city, of our town, so that we can help each other people. We have to be good to make others good too. So that's a thing that I'm really interested in.
Awesome, great answer. So guys, I think that really brings us to the end. I think this was a great talk, and I loved hearing all your guys, your voices and perspective on things. I encourage all you guys to stay in contact with each other, because all you guys can do great things in your future, and just to stay encouraged. And I encourage you to just stay invested in your community, like you said, Sarah, and start locally and hopefully grow to nationally, and just to try and make as big of an impact as you can. So I appreciate you guys for doing this talk. And Helen, if you are there and want to come back on and say your goodbyes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. That was really, really interesting. Really, I was so excited listening to, you know, all the different things that you talked about, and you're all really inspirational, and I'm sure you will all do great things in the future. And as Adam said, please do keep in touch, and, you know, reach out to me and Elle-Marie if we can help you in any way as well. We always want to support, you know, people in their futures and in their passions. And want to say a big thank you to Adam, who did a great job leading the conversation today as well. And yeah, take care and stay safe. And maybe one day we'll have an in-person youth summit.
Wouldn't that be great, right?
Yeah,
But
well,
at the moment, any thought of any live conference or event, you know, you just have to forget about it and make another plan, right?
2020 anyways. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to, and I mean, it's very difficult to get people from 5 continents together in person, so it is wonderful that we were able to do that online and have so many people from so many different countries, I think.
Yeah, I think it's I mean, one can say it's so much nicer to do it live, and we were not even actually intending to do it live. This was a last minute decision. We were just going to upload the videos and share the videos within a particular time frame, but you know, we are exploring, we're all learning new things and looking at how we could do this in the future. To make it, you know, whether you do it live or in a hybrid way, or and so we continue learning and developing new skills, right? So any suggestions from people are welcome. If you have a great idea that you would like to share, for sure we are going to, hopefully we can do this as an annual event, and also track these young people in their lives and see what happens to them and where they go, and what success they achieve. Yeah, that is with, I'm going to now share the last video, and that is going to bring our summit to an end. And the reason why I wanted to include this was we're talking about how can we make the world a better place. And we are facing so many issues of refugees, stateless people. There's so much poverty now in the world. And what can policymakers do to ensure that people's humanity is recognized? So let me share this last video.
Good evening. My name is Susan Bennett. I live and work in Malaysia and have been doing this for about 5 years. The majority of projects that I've been involved in is with school transformation and or working with marginalised groups in the community. Today, I'd like to share with you a story about how a community in Sabah supports the stateless and undocumented during this pandemic. The pandemic has wreaked havoc on economies and lifestyle all over the world, but none more serious than on the lives of the poor and the marginalised communities. These communities have no savings, no job, no income, no food. As the pandemic stretches from 2020 into 2021 and possibly beyond, the situation has become more serious. Children are constantly hungry and the quality of nutrition reduced, with families forced to seek any type of food available. With no sign of this relenting or being controlled, the plight of these children and their families deteriorates. In May 2021, it was estimated that there were 800,000 stateless people in Malaysia. 290,000 were children. Of these, 52,000 of the children are in eastern state of Sabah. These are largely non-Malaysian, Filipino, Indonesian, and some indigenous Orang Asli groups. There is an estimated rate of poverty in East Malaysia at 24%, which compounds the inequities and the discrimination. Being born in Malaysia does not automatically mean Malaysian citizenship. One parent must have documented papers to prove they are Malaysian. Malaysia is one country that does deny equal right to both male and female to confer their nationality on children. That means that mothers cannot claim citizenship for their children in many circumstances. Undocumented residents fear exposure and expulsion and are hesitant to register a child, which perpetuates the cycle. A common perception is that all are descendants of illegal immigrants, and their status of statelessness has been ignored. But in fact, many of these are simply undocumented at birth rather than illegal citizens. There are no legal frameworks or processes that provide short relief for a stateless person in Malaysia. They rely on international and regional organisations and NGOs and communities to assist them. And I would like to share with you an organisation that has been supporting the stateless children in Sabah. Dr. Catherine Rabai, founder and education consultant of Etanya Schools, has attempted to address the needs of Sabah's invisible children. Etanya was founded in 2009 and began with 10 schools and over 900 children. The schools have endeavoured to provide a full education for the children who are forbidden to attend government schools. They advocate that receiving an education is the right of any child, and those who are deprived of this right remain trapped in the cycle of poverty. However, the goal to provide an education for these children is facing a major challenge since the pandemic began. Government-mandated movement control and lockdowns prevent students and teachers from attending school. Learning has moved online. However, this does not meet the needs of these students. Most do not have laptops or handphones, internet connection, and in fact electricity in their homes. This has resulted in a serious interruption in learning for the majority, with only a few students successfully managing to access and participate in online study. Sabah's undocumented groups also face extreme health issues. The nutritional needs of the children are not met because parents have lost their daily jobs and can no longer afford to buy basic supplies. Children have watered down rice porridge and are hungry. New mothers have no milk for their babies and resort to buying milk powder, which is in short supply. Some mothers spoon feed their children tin condensed milk or even just sugar water. Catherine and a dedicated group of volunteers work tirelessly to support these school communities. Overall, they have a great deal of support from the community, from generous donors to the supermarkets who package the food baskets. They regularly distribute food parcels all over Sabah to schools, and this helps many families survive, though the nutrition levels are not always high. Etanya was fortunate in 2020 to be supported by Yasahan Hassana, who sponsored a vegetable farm project in 3 schools. All of these families have fresh vegetables, some of which they even sell to support the nutritional levels of the beneficiaries. However, most of the marginalised and undocumented children are not so fortunate. Despite the generosity of the Malaysian communities with regular food donations, sheer numbers overwhelm demand. Distribution is hampered by restrictions and lockdowns, and parents cannot get out of housing estates to find food. They are hungry, stressed, and trying to keep going without jobs and income. Road conditions often become impassable with flooding, which prevents the delivery of food to the school gates. Some schools have successfully organised trusted Contacts who purchase food using donated funds and distribute these food parcels, alleviating the challenge of the delivery. On other occasions, it is not uncommon for the delivery drivers to be raided by hungry families outside of the schools. Families, fearful of any sign of authority because of their undocumented status, flee into the jungle at the first sign of conflict. Desperate for support, they incessantly send messages seeking food. Occasionally, food parcels do not even reach the families, as the food is repackaged and resold along route. The challenge for the families seems insurmountable. Access to medical facilities is limited, and the nutritional needs of new mothers and babies add to the staggering health concerns of these communities. Public health officials are working with aid groups and local authorities to reach out to vulnerable groups, many of whom are falling ill, fearful of seeking treatment, of being detained, of being put into quarantine or deportation. Malaysia's crackdown on undocumented migrants since the start of the pandemic has worsened the fears. Without the help and support from the communities and groups such as Itanya, illness and chronic disease may lead to the next epidemic. So there is so much that could be done to support these groups. I hope you found this interesting. If you do want any more information, please feel free to give me a ring, send me an email, and I'd love to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan, for sharing that information. Yes, it is a big battle. I think authorities face also huge challenges, and I want to say a great, amazing initiative by the Malaysian people is the White Flag Initiative. I don't know of any other country that has this. It just goes to show how generous and how kind and giving people in this country are. So the initiative is families that are hungry, especially in the urban areas, put out white flags, and volunteers know who is looking for, who's desperate for help. So we just all pray and hope that this pandemic starts abating in the country, because the numbers keep on being very high, and that the solutions can be found. But if communities continue to support the poor, the struggling people that are, especially in some areas of the country, I hope that we can all make a positive difference for people across the world. So this brings us to the end of our program, and we are so happy and pleased to see the levels of engagement, especially the number of views of all the videos that we've been posting. And we will also post these videos on our YouTube channel, as well as our Instagram page and the Facebook page, for you to watch and share and enjoy and comment and participate in moving forward. So thank you to all our panelists for your hard work, your passion and your participation. Thank you to our moderators who also gave up a lot of their time. Thank you to the team that's helping with video editing, to Helen and her team, and my team from Right Education, Right International. And we bid you a good night, and do reach out to us if you want to collaborate or you want to participate in projects with us moving forward. So have a good night. Thank you.